Travel consideration provided by...
Did you hear that? It's the sound of your sandpaper skin shredding the sheets. You need Jergens Ultra Healing Lotion.
Much softer.
Now, if only it could soften the snoring.
I snore?
And energizing citrus body butter. Jergens.
Come on, try a tiny handful.
Not doing that.
They are mega bites, bigger goldfish, bigger flavor. Do it for Bobby.
For Bobby.
Tiny high five.
Wow.
Mega size, mega flavor.
Tomorrow on ET, only we're in Nashville with the Queen of Country, Dolly Parton, why 2023 promises to be Dolly's best year yet.
It's going to be going all over the world. It's my new 9 to 5, I think.
Sticking with the Legends theme, LL Cool J will receive the Entertainment Icon Award at the 5th Annual Urban One Honors.
Uncle L.
If it can happen for me, it can happen for you.
This year's theme celebrating icons of culture. Bobby Brown will
The News at 5 starts right now.
We're all here off of an idea, off of a thought of one man, the impact that he all made for us.
First at 5, after 2 years of cancellations from COVID, one of the nation's largest Martin Luther King Jr. marches returns to the streets of San Antonio.
And according to organizers, it brought together hundreds of thousands of people from all across the country. Tiffany Huerta shows us how Dr. King's legacy continues to live on.
Hundreds of thousands of people marched through the east side of San Antonio,
God bless Martin Luther King,
honoring the life and legacy of the late civil rights leader, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
He has impacted my life by showing us that, we can come together despite our differences and that we can march for peace.
The march kicked off at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Academy around 10 a.m. This year's theme, Together We Can Be the Dream.
He's inspired my life because he was a guy of peace, love, and harmony.
For Sam Houston High School's band director, Bruce Adams, today brought back memories.
When the first march happened, I was a student in the band. It's really important to my students to know that they're a part of history.
Families tell me it was a special day celebrating the life and legacy of Dr. King, not only with the community, but with their children.
My son, this is his first year at a big march. This is her second or third year, so we're just excited to be a part of a good movement.
Martin Luther King inspired me. He kind of helped me to walk around freely and not be judged based off my skin.
Marchers made their way to Pittman Sullivan Park, where the celebration continued. Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
Now, if you missed the march today, there are still several opportunities to honor the legacy of the civil rights leader. Dream Week events are still taking place.
Right now on our website, you can find a list of the events that are still happening. It's on our homepage. Just go to KSAT.com.
A total takeover along a busy stretch of I-10. Traffic came to a standstill after several drivers shut down all lanes in both directions, and it started with people doing stunts. At one point, shots were fired. A father and son who witnessed it all, sharing video of what happened and talking to our RJ Marquez.
This was the scene on the Northwest Side late Sunday night.
Not even long after we'd been there, just a couple minutes, maybe 2-3 minutes, we heard rounds start going off.
This father, who wanted to go by the name Doc, and his son RJ were driving on the westbound lanes of I-10 towards Wurzbach around 10 p.m. when they heard gunshots and captured the aftermath on their phone.
We could just see people started scrambling in which direction. The initial reaction was, get down, get your head down, and people started, clearing out a lot faster.
San Antonio police said the shooting happened after several vehicles blocked I-10 East and some drivers started doing donuts on the highway. At least one person got out and appeared to fire shots. Drivers took off, and that led to a 4-car crash on the highway.
Your fight or flight activates, and so people started getting out of there, but you also had, people that were, pretty panicked and stopped in the middle of the highway.
What happened along I-10 is often called a takeover.
They block the intersection, block the street, block the highway, do some donuts, and usually get up out of there pretty quick.
RJ posted video on social media in an effort to get the word out, and it's blown up with millions of views.
You have situations like that where it gets out of control, and then, things blow out of proportion, and people start panicking, and people end up getting hurt.
And San Antonio police tell us that no witnesses who may have seen the shooting stayed to cooperate with the investigation, and all the people that were involved in those ensuing crashes did not want to be transported to the hospital. RJ Marquez, KSAT 12 News.
Street racing is, of course, nothing new, and there have been recent efforts to do something about it. That is the focus of one of our KSAT Explains episodes. Just scan this QR code on your screen. It will take you to the KSAT Explains page, where you can find this story and many more. KSAT Explains is also streaming on KSAT Plus, available anywhere you stream.
New today at 5, the Transportation Safety Administration making a rather unusual discovery at San Antonio International Airport.
They shared this photo on Twitter saying the 84mm caliber weapon was found in checked luggage. The TSA says the firearm was undeclared.
We want to give you an update now on a T-bone crash we told you about yesterday. We've now learned the 29-year-old woman who was hospitalized has died. It happened on Vance Jackson Road near Loop 1604 yesterday morning. The victim identified as Vanessa Esparza. San Antonio police say the car that she was exiting an apartment complex in wound up getting in the path of another car. The driver who hit her told officers at the scene she was unable to avoid T-boning Esparza's car. She is not facing charges at this time.
We have also learned the name of a man who was killed on a rollover crash on the north side last night. He has been identified as Vincent Smith. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office says the 29-year-old was speeding near Fair Oaks Parkway before he lost control and his car rolled over. Despite life-saving measures, we're told he died on the way to the hospital. Mudslides, floods, and snow. California has seen it all over the last few weeks. There have been at least 20 storm-related deaths so far across the Golden State, and many more rescues. As Mike Valera reports, Californians will soon get a break, but it's not going to be for a few more days.
Above the waters of a furious and quickly rising creek, a delicate and dramatic rescue in Southern California. A woman clinging to a tree saved, hoisted high above the floodwaters, and brought back to safer ground. On Sunday, south of Sacramento, rescuers on rafts. The National Guard helping to evacuate about 175 people from their mobile homes.
It's a lake out there. I have beachfront property.
And with emergency teams only feet away, this road in Pescadero slides and collapses, careening down the hillside.
We've had levee breakages, mudslides, power outages, mass evacuations, school closures. It has been a very difficult time in the state of California.
The National Weather Service says San Francisco already surpassed its yearly rainfall average 8 months early. The good news in the days ahead.
We're looking at the rest of the week, a little bit of a reprieve and the ability to clean up and hopefully get people back in their homes.
Near hard-hit Santa Cruz, a man installed this zip line, thinking the bridge connecting his isolated neighborhood would wash out. It did, and he zipped back and forth ever since.
Well, you live in the woods, you just kind of got to be prepared. We're a resilient group up here. We do have 7 households up here.
Meantime, snow continues to pile up in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Chains on tires a must.
I'm kind of wishing it would quit for a while. I'm tired of it.
In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
And those storms in California are having a local impact here. There is a shortage on carrots right now. Take a look at these photos. They show a number of empty shelves at an H-E-B. The company posted signs letting customers know they are receiving a limited supply of carrots due to the weather conditions out in California. We reached out to H-E-B for a comment today, and so far we have not heard back.
We want to take a live look outside with your traffic authority cameras. It is a holiday, and this is what you're looking at is holiday traffic. Very sparse out there at I-37 and Fair Avenue. We hope you had a wonderful Martin Luther King Day, because a lot of people were out in the weather today enjoying it.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day out there. A little bit on the warm side, but still a really pleasant day. Here's a look at our weather watcher temperatures. Take a look in Warren's backyard, 80 degrees. 77 in Leon Springs, 75 in Schertz. As we take a closer view around San Antonio, 77 in Bernie and 75 in Bulverde. Now outside right now it's 75 degrees, and we still do have some of those cirrus clouds out there. It should be a pretty nice sunset. Tonight, temperatures will be falling into the 60s, a pretty mild evening with north winds at just about 5 miles per hour. Now coming up, we're going to talk about how you're definitely going to want to dress in layers tomorrow. A chilly morning, but a warm afternoon. And of course, I'll have the latest on a cold front expected to arrive Wednesday. Tim.
Thank you, Sarah. We'll take it from here. The FAA meltdown that led to the first full ground stop of U.S. air travel since September 11th back in 2001 may end up being investigated on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, that comes on the heels of the Southwest Airlines disruption that thwarted holiday travel for thousands of passengers. Karen Kafa looks into what's going on with U.S. air travel and whether passengers are losing trust.
Dozens of lawmakers on both sides of the aisle demanding more answers in a letter to Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg on Friday concern the FAA technology issues that led to the disruption of thousands of U.S. flights last week could run deeper.
We've been able to make some major gains in terms of accountability for airlines when it comes to their customer service. We equally have to make sure that FAA has the systems, the staffing, and the operations that it needs.
The FAA meltdown on the heels of the Southwest Airlines holiday debacle that canceled thousands of flights. Despite the recent headlines, Katie Nastro, travel expert for Going, says the majority of flights are getting from point A to point B on time, but passengers can prepare to be their own troubleshooters.
Sometimes things happen, having that flexibility and just being prepared with a backup plan is never a bad idea.
That begins with reading the fine print on a ticket.
There are controllable disruptions. That's things within the airline's control that they can manage, like a staffing issue, like a software issue internally. And then there are uncontrollables like the weather and air traffic control, which is an entirely other separate entity from airlines.
That distinction will determine your compensation from an airline. Nastro also recommends nonstop flights to reduce the chance of disruption and early morning flights to avoid the domino effect of disruptions to a flight schedule like the FAA stop last week. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
If you're dealing with a case of the winter blues today, you are not alone. There's a reason why, maybe, how you can brighten your day and boost your mood and chase your blues away.
I'm Myra Arthur here in the KSAT 12 newsroom. Coming up tonight on the news at 6.
This year, things have been a little bit weird,
to say the least, when it comes to RSV and the flu. You've heard about how those viruses were unusually severe this cold and flu season. So what made this season so unique? We'll answer that question. Plus, we'll talk about how the flu vaccine is made every year and what possibilities look like for an RSV vaccine. It's all in a new KSAT Explains today at 6. Plus,
with the high cost for eggs, it has a lot of people wondering if it's cheaper to just own chickens. We'll have more details coming up.
Today's march bringing hundreds of thousands of people along Martin Luther King Drive today. The businesses we spoke to along the route happy to see those marchers return after 3 long years.
These stories and a whole lot more coming your way today on the news at 6. We'll see you then.
Thank you, Myra. You've heard of Blue Monday, maybe? Well, that's today, and it's supposedly the most depressing day of the year. Fortunately, there's no real science to back that up, but seasonal affective disorder is real, and so are the winter blues. So 12 News Side's Marilyn Moritz has some simple ways you can brighten your mood.
If you felt your mood dip recently and wondered why, winter may be the culprit.
Less sunlight during the day affects how our bodies regulate serotonin and melatonin. And when levels of these hormones are thrown off, it can affect our mood and sleep.
For some people, this disruption can be dramatic and lead to a form of depression known as seasonal affective disorder, or SAD. Signs include weight gain, fatigue, trouble concentrating, and other things that just make you feel off and not like yourself.
5 or more of those symptoms are enough for a doctor to diagnose you with seasonal affective disorder. But many more people have what's called subsyndromal SAD, where you're not completely disabled by winter, but you're also not at your best.
Treatment can include medication, along with light therapy, sitting in front of a light box each morning to trick your eyes and brain that the sun is up. You can buy light therapy boxes over the counter, but Consumer Reports recommends using one with a doctor's diagnosis.
Some conditions that can mimic depression, like bipolar disorder, can actually get worse with treatments for SAD.
To deal with the winter blues, it can also help to just get outside and soak up as much natural sunlight as possible. Also, exercise daily and push yourself to be social. Schedule lunch with a friend, even if you don't feel like it. Connections can help lift your mood. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Hard to be sad with the weather we had today. A day off for many as they were participating in the Martin Luther King Jr. March and all the activities. There's the look of Sky 12 over Pittman Sullivan Park. Looks like most of the activities there have wrapped up for the day. But boy, we've had really nice weather for everything.
Yeah, and earlier today, it looked like it was almost looked like it was going to rain. It was so cloudy, and then the sun came out and just a beautiful afternoon.
Right, exactly. This morning, nice and cool with some cloud cover, and we got to soak up some sun too. So we had a little bit of everything today. I want to start by showing you today's clouds. Like Ursula was saying, we were kind of locked into cloud cover here for a bit, and that had a pretty big impact on our high temperatures. Here's a look at the start of the day. You can see how it stayed cloudy in San Antonio until about noon, and then we started to see plenty of sunshine. There's those clouds, and they start to clear right at around noon. Notice too that San Antonio was one of the last places to see sunshine in the KSAT 12 viewing area. So many places outside of San Antonio were actually warmer than the Alamo City. Now, our high temperature today was 76 degrees. That is 13 degrees above the average. So a warm day regardless. But usually up in the hill country this time of year, temperatures will be a few degrees cooler than San Antonio. Not the case in Kerrville. It was closer to 80 degrees. It got up to 83 in Del Rio, 81 in Carrizo Springs, nearly 90 in Laredo, and it was 75 degrees in Gonzales and 76 in New Braunfels. Now, I told you before the break to dress in layers tomorrow, and this is the reason why. Early tomorrow morning, it'll be near 50 degrees. We're going to have partly cloudy skies. I don't know about you, but for me, I need a light sweater around 50 degrees. But look how quickly the temperatures warm up by nearly 20 degrees in the span of 3 hours. By 10 o'clock tomorrow, it's going to be 70 outside. Right around noon, mid 70s, and for the afternoon high temperature, a day in the 80s. 81 degrees for the forecast high tomorrow for us around San Antonio. We'll see more sunshine in the afternoon than we will in the morning, but all in all, a mostly sunny, partly cloudy to mostly sunny day. Here's a look at forecast highs in your neighborhood. Again, nearly 20 degrees above the average in San Antonio tomorrow. It'll be 83 in Hondo, 84 in Pleasanton, 86 in Cotulla, 83 in Del Rio. Hill country will be right near 80 degrees, 83 in New Braunfels, and across the coastal plain right near 80 degrees as well. All right, here's a look at our weather setup. A big low pressure system right here across the Midwest. Notice how far north it is from us here in Texas. There's another system that's further off to the west, but unfortunately this is going to take a little bit of a northerly track as well. This is the last bit of rain that California is going to get before they dry out, so that's some good news for them. But as we look ahead to the futurecast, notice how this low continues to track to the north. It is going to pull a Pacific front our way by the start of Wednesday. All of the healthier rains and even, yes, some snow is going to be around this area of low pressure system across the Central Plains. Here in San Antonio, we're unfortunately going to be once again on the tail end of things. So as far as rainfall goes, early on Wednesday morning, only a 20% chance for an isolated shower. I do think there will be some of us on our way to work on Wednesday that need to turn on those windshield wipers, but otherwise it's going to be fairly dry. Again, by mid-morning, all of that rain, if any, is going to be well east of San Antonio, and we'll have a sunny day on Wednesday behind that Pacific front. As far as rainfall goes, again, don't get your hopes up. Maybe a trace of rain to a couple of hundredths around San Antonio. And even those east of San Antonio, which oftentimes fare better than San Antonio when it comes to the rain, perhaps only about 1/10 of an inch of rain. Any meaningful rain is really going to be confined to East Texas from this system on Wednesday, where they'll receive about 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rainfall. After that small window for rain on Wednesday morning, we have another opportunity for rain on Saturday, but notice 30% coverage. We still have not seen that big rainmaker to come and help kick us out of this drought, and I don't foresee that in the next 7 days. However, the weather behind that front on Wednesday will be very nice. We'll be looking at mornings in the 40s, afternoons in the 70s. Even with that rain on Saturday, things will be pretty comfortable with afternoon highs in the 60s. Tim and Ursula.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
The Cowboys are in Tampa Bay to face Tom Brady and the Buccaneers on Monday Night Football.
Which team shows up tonight? The Cowboys team that crushed, of course, Minnesota, or the Cowboys team that crumbled against the Commanders? When we come back, we'll take it live to Raymond James Stadium. The Cowboys have arrived for the big game on Monday Night Football. And the Brahmas coach participating in the MLK March right here in San Antonio. Coming up.
football coverage. Powered by Davis Law Firm.
Dallas Cowboys have arrived at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa for the final game of the Super Wildcard Weekend against the Buccaneers. Dak Prescott led the way. Not far behind him, Ezekiel Elliott. They already know who and where they will play next. Have win, ironically, San Francisco and Santa Clara, and the odds are in their favor. 2.5 points to be exact, even though they haven't won a road playoff game since Jimmy Johnson shouted those famous words, "How about them Cowboys?" after beating the 49ers in Candlestick Park to win the NFC Championship in 1993, almost 30 years ago to the day. With more, let's take it live to Tampa. That's where we find our Larry Ramirez. Hi, Larry.
Hello, Greg, and thank you very much. So to piggyback off of that, Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback Dak Prescott wasn't even alive the last time the boys won a road playoff game in January of 1993. I mean, that's just crazy. So Dak was born some 6 months later in July, and the 29-year-old would love nothing more than to win this road playoff game tonight to end the Cowboys' very long road playoff drought. They've lost 8 straight road playoff games, with the most recent setback coming in the 2018 season when they lost at the LA Rams 30-22 in the divisional round. Rookie offensive tackle Tyler Smith, who's 21, is well aware of the boys' lack of road playoff wins dating back to 1993, and he knows getting a dub here against the Bucs would mean a lot for this organization.
It's huge for us. I think the last time us as an organization won a playoff game on the road was in the 90s. So, this win, it would change the culture. Going to the Super Bowl, that would change the whole city. Winning the championship, it would mean more than just a trophy to the city of Dallas. I know that. So just, it's huge for us. But we start with this game, we start with this week, we start with the next day of prep as to getting towards that goal. So.
Bucs quarterback Tom Brady is 11-4 on the road in playoff games in his career, while Dak is 0-1. We'll see if that changes tonight. Greg, back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Larry. Luke was one of the participants in today's MLK March here in San Antonio, 2-time Super Bowl champion and the head coach of the San Antonio Brahmas, Hines Ward. Ward came into town from the Brahmas training camp to participate in the historic event. They returned to an in-person march for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic.
We wanted to be a part of it. I thought for myself, along with a couple of our players, to come down here and share in this amazing event. We're extremely blessed and honored to be here.
The Brahmas will kick off their first season, the XFL, against St. Louis Battlehawks in the Alamo Dome at 2 p.m. on February the 19th, live right here on KSAT 12. But first, it's the Cowboys and the Buccaneers on Monday Night Football tonight.
Right here on KSAT 12.
You got it.
We'll be watching. Thanks, Greg.
We'll be right back.
A warm day tomorrow, 81 for the high temperature after the cool start. We've got a double dose of cold fronts in our forecast. Wednesday, a weak front will move through, bringing a small chance for rain early Wednesday morning. And then a second front over the weekend, a slightly better rain chance, but really the temperature is back in the 60s. It's going to be the biggest benefit from the front moving through on the weekend.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you for watching the News at 5 with us.
World News is next. We'll see you back here for more local news tonight at 6.